What's going on, guys? This Get Got Bang Bang, and today I want to talk about the future console generation, or I guess the next gen consoles that will be coming out soon. I haven't really kept up with the actual release dates and everything, but I know we're getting a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, and there's some things I think that I would like to see happen with the new console generation. I'm sure other people will probably agree with me, and some people probably won't. I don't. Doesn't really matter. You can have your own opinions on things, but first of all, what I want to talk about is cross-platform play. It took a long time for us to get cross-platform play on consoles, even though it probably shouldn't have. I mean, we went through the entire PS3, Xbox 360 generation with no cross-platform play, and it's still a relatively new concept. It feels like in this generation with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. A lot of our battle royale titles have it now, and some other titles have it too. But I feel like it took longer than it should have for these companies to come together and to agree. Hey, even though we're competitors, it's going to help. One, it's going to help game developers because more people are going to want to play their games. If their friends play and they don't have the same console, but they want to play together, they don't have to drop a bunch of money going out and buying a second console. They can play the game together with whatever console they have, which is good for developers because it gets more people interested into their games. So it helps the gaming industry as a whole. But then also it's just kind of like a goodwill thing towards the customers that buy their consoles. Like, yeah, your friend might not be one of our customers, but they still have a passion for video games. They like to play video games, and it takes a part of the business aspect out of it, which I think is good because these companies do have to make money, but at the same time, it's a video game. It's supposed to be fun and enjoyable, something you can do with your friends. And we've kind of gone, away from having like four people sitting on the couch together playing a Nintendo, and we've gone to everybody's in their own house. And it's less of a social experience in person and more of a social experience online. So I think cross-platform play being just automatically included, the support for it being included at launch of the new consoles is going to be a big thing. I hope they don't try to take it away. Like, oh yeah, we have to work, we have to update for cross-platform play, and just go ahead and give it to us. Don't start the console generation off without it. Which, I mean, I don't think they would, but one of the companies might, particularly the one that was making it difficult to get to begin with, Sony. With that being said, with cross-platform play coming into play, we also have PC is another platform that is compatible with cross-platform play, and they get the mouse and keyboard, and I don't particularly like the mouse and keyboard anyways when I'm playing video games. I'm just bad with it for first-person shooters anyways, but for like RPGs and stuff, it's not that bad. But some people are really upset about it because they feel like the mouse and keyboard gives them more control over aiming and stuff like that. And you can plug a mouse and a keyboard into your console now, and it'll give you some functions of it, but not like full functions of the mouse and keyboard to play a game with. So going ahead and integrating that, I think, would be a great idea. I don't know why Microsoft hasn't already done it, seeing as how they made, they make Windows, which is a computer thing, and they came from computers basically. They didn't make computers, but they made a bunch of software for them. So I feel like they could have already integrated that back in the 360 era of things. But then again, I'm sure there's a reason they didn't. But now with cross-platform play being a thing, I feel like it's going to be more of a demand to have it integrated into the new console generation, being able to use a mouse and keyboard for whatever game you want to play. And since we're talking about the mouse and keyboard, let's talk about the controllers. So the Xbox One controller, I love my Xbox One, but the controller not being rechargeable is kind of a pain in the ass. Like, my batteries will die randomly. Don't even keep track of it. I know they have a thing on the home screen that you can hit to see your battery life and all that, but I don't. I don't care in the moment of whatever I'm doing. I just don't care to check my batteries. I know it pops up with your batteries are low, and I'll try to drag out as much life of them as I can because I don't have a bunch of AA batteries just laying around. So then when it dies, I have to go to the store and get some. So I would say go ahead and make your controller rechargeable like the PS4 did and the PS3. PlayStations have rechargeable controllers for 2 generations now. And with the PlayStation controller, um, for the PlayStation 4, my understanding of it is that it dies real quick compared to, comparably. Like, when it first came out, it had like a 6 hour battery life, and then after the controller gets a little older, it had like a 4 hour battery life, which is a long time. But if you're doing a long gaming session, maybe you and your friends are just like, we're gonna play video games all night. Having it die after 4 or 6 hours isn't great. I'm sure that there's new technology where you can make the battery life last better. Um, Maybe don't use the touchscreen. From my understanding, the touchscreen got pretty unutilized in the PS4. I didn't get a PS4 this generation, so I don't know. But I've heard bad things about the controller for the PS4. So maybe rethink the PS5 controller and give it a little bit better battery life. And Microsoft, if you do make a rechargeable, controller, go ahead and make sure the battery life of that's pretty good too. What else? The online subscription service like Xbox Live, I think PlayStation Network has something like that too, where you have to pay to play the online versions of games. Um, I don't like it. I deal with it because I like to play online with friends, but I don't like it because back in the last generation, I had a PS3. I started out with a PS3, and I picked up a 360 at some point, and on the PS3, you didn't have to pay to play the online version of the game as long as you bought the game and it had an online mode or a multiplayer mode online. You could play it without having to have a subscription to anything. And with the consoles, getting more expensive each generation, I don't know what the prices are for these new consoles are going to be, but it's probably going to be more expensive than the last gen. And if it's not, it's probably going to be the same price. And they're not cheap by any means, they're not cheap, but people still buy them because they love video games. So if I've already bought your console and I have to go buy, a $60 game that has an online mode, why do I have to spend another $10 to $15 a month to play that online mode? I don't think I should have to. That's me, and I get that you're trying to make money, and that's an easy way. That's a passive income stream for the companies to do. It's like, hey, yeah, you got your system, and you've got this great game that you want to play, and even though you spend $60 on the game, we're still going to take some money from you so you can play your games online. And I get it. I get why they do it. And I think it has a part of making sure that the online services are better. Because if you think about it, the online service for the Xbox 360 was a lot better of an experience than the PS3 because the PS3 didn't have an online service and Xbox had, Xbox Live. And I think maybe that was what did it for them to begin with. But at the, right now, what we're at is you've already established that these services are good. So maybe, can we have them for free now? I mean, it's mostly servers at that point, I feel like. And I don't feel like the upkeep of that is something that you were going to let slide anyways. So either that or, they have like the streaming game services or the game on demand service now, like Xbox has the Game Pass. Bundle it together under one price instead of having it two different things at two different prices. Charge me like $15 a month. Let me play my games online, but give me Game Pass too, so that way I have games I could actually play. And I think that'd be a little bit better. A better move. I think that customers will like that better. And if you keep the customers happy, you're going to be better off as a business. Because right now, I buy Xbox Live, but I don't buy Game Pass. Whereas, if you bundle them together, I'd be willing to pay a little bit more each month to have both instead of doing it separately and it being more expensive. Now, when it comes to the online side of things, I don't want to have to connect online to play single player modes either. Like, it was it was pretty, back in the day when I first got my Xbox One, I was like, I had to be connected online in order to even install a single player game, which I feel like is ridiculous. Or even if it had an online portion, like let's say, I don't know, Call of Duty. Let's say Call of Duty releases a game in 2021 after the new gens come out, and it has a campaign on like Black Ops 4. It has a campaign, and it has of course the online component of it. And let's say I get it and I want to play the campaign first. Well, why do I need to be connected to the internet to even install the game if I'm installing it from a disc? Assuming that they even have discs in the next gen, because there's been talk about they're trying to get rid of discs, which I get that too. But why do I need to be connected to the internet to play a single player game? And with that being said, why do I need to be connected to the internet to install the game? Just installing the game from the disc, I should not have to be connected to the internet. I don't feel like it makes a lot of sense. I feel like it creates a lot more just annoyance than anything. I think they do it for copyright reasons, but I mean, I think there's a way you could probably have the systems tell if the disc is real or not, because they were doing stuff like that back on the original Nintendo without having to be connected to the internet. So I feel like it's something they could accomplish today. What else? When it comes to the new gens, I think a big thing is going to be backwards compatibility. And I'm not talking about spending money to buy old games and download them from the store. I'm talking about taking your old game discs and putting them into your system to play them. And I don't know why it's been a big deal. I think the original PS2 could do it with PS1 games. I think at one point, one of the versions of the PS3 could do it with PS2 games. But I want to see backwards compatibility being, I could play any game from that, that console and its older generations just by putting the disc in. And maybe, I understand you might have to install some software if you want to do that. But for it to just not be able to do it at all. And Xbox has gotten really good with some of the, old 360 games. But I feel like just off the gate, it shouldn't be too hard to be able to put any, original Xbox disc into an Xbox Series X and run it. And I understand there's going to be some issues with running it like that, but at the same time, I think they do that too because of money. They don't want people to just play old games they already own. That way, if you want to play an old game, you have to pay for it in the store and download it. But it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I've already bought the game once, 10, 20 years ago. Why can't I play it now if I want to without having to lug out my old Xbox or my old PlayStation? Like, just give me a system that can run it all. They're not too different in coding, I don't believe. A lot of them ran off the same kind of software, just upgraded versions of it. So I don't know why a new system that's so upgraded can't run an older game, especially when we have PCs that can run games from almost any era. Of course, there's some, that will crash a PC still. But anyways, I think that's all I've really got to say about it for now. I think that these are some pretty good ideas for them to consider, even though, they've already probably produced and have the final products ready to go. Maybe not for this coming up gen, but the next gen. These are some things to keep in mind. And honestly, I think we're getting to the point now that video game consoles are going to be very much like PCs, where they're made to order. So, yeah, if you guys remember how, like, Dell, when Dell started out, it was pretty much custom PC. You told them what you wanted in your PC, they built it for you, and they sent it to you. And I think that's where a lot of consoles are going to end up going, just because they have so many features now that seem to be almost a matter of preference. Like, some people might not want a large internal storage space if it means that it can save them money on the console, and just use external storage. So I see maybe in the future of like game consoles, they're gonna have like a base model that's pretty much just online download only for games, real small memory, so it's cheaper and more affordable. I mean, the graphics and the processor are still gonna be, the main components of that. But then, they'll made to order consoles too, or you can have it with a disk drive, and you can have it with higher memory if you want to, so you don't have to use external memory. I know that either way, a lot of people that I know, they have external memory for their systems, and I'm talking about they have 1 terabyte systems and they still use external memory. And it happens, and I see that being the way that consoles go in the future, them being more made to order, especially when things like streaming and video creation are more viable options for a career for some, a small majority of people. They might even decide to put built-in capture cards as a feature if they decide they want to do made-to-order consoles. That'd be kind of cool. You'd have like a base model for the average consumer, and then you'd have like another model for like the people who like playing video games. More storage space, disk drives, and stuff like that. And then you have like a streaming version of it for streamers, which would probably be really expensive. That could integrate things. As we're talking about that, it'd be kind of cool to see them work with like OBS, because OBS is really popular with streamers, and have a way to have OBS just on the systems and the stream like that. That'd be kind of cool. But I mean, we're probably far away off from something like that. But I think that's about all I have to say about the next consoles. I think I want to talk about the future of game creators, because there's definitely been some issues with the game releases this generation, and I'll probably end up doing another video on that later. But I hope everybody has a great day, and thank you for watching.